for the first time in a year, we have the fear and greed index showing fear. And after today, it probably go back to neutral again, okay? But things move really quickly in crypto, and that includes sentiment, not just price. Sentiment changes rapidly. Just last week, we were in greed, and somehow we're in fear. But here's the thing. Who's selling, right? Unfortunately, according to JP Morgan, it's the retail investors. It's not the institutions. Maybe a little bit from the institutions, but mostly the sell-off is led by retail investors, what we call paper hands, okay? Paper hands, or lettuce hands, whatever you want to call them, they can't stand the pressure or the heat, so they have to sell off, right? I can understand if people sold off at 73,000 or 70,000, but you don't sell off when we're at 56,000, okay? That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But according to JP Morgan, that's who we're selling, retail investors. And unfortunate, when retail investors were selling, you know who was buying? I think you guys could guess who. Whales. In fact, whale addresses accumulated $3 billion worth of Bitcoin in just last day, in the last 24 hours. So, retail selling, whales buying. You see the difference there? This is why I always tell you guys, hey, don't be fearful of dips. Dips are normal. You accumulate during dips because that's what the whales do. They keep buying. They buy when things are low. They don't buy when things are sky high, right? So that is another reason why we are going higher. We're still going higher, guys. 61.6. Hopefully you guys set your longs. I certainly did because I think today is going to be a good day. Just kidding. You don't have to set your longs. But hopefully you guys did accumulate or take advantage of, our low prices a few days ago. When things are on discount, that's when you buy, right? And some people may be disappointed with Hong Kong's ETF opening. People are thinking, well, it's too low. They haven't really accumulated, right? Not much. Well, it's adding up. Just like all ETF launches, they take a little bit to launch, okay? It doesn't go sky high immediately. Although, if you look at the numbers, they're not bad. If you look at, this is after day 2, the 3 ETF funds already accumulated $231 million worth of Bitcoin. This is not chump change. $231 million in 2 days. That is a whole lot. And it could get up to $1 billion by the end of 2024. In fact, I think it's going to go past $1 billion because it's already $250 million. Okay? So don't think that it's a disappointment. Hong Kong, along with Wall Street and everywhere else that have ETFs, they will continue to soak up more and more of the supply until there's none available. That's why we still see the reserves on exchanges dropping like a rock in the ocean. And again, this is another reason why huge gains are incoming, because it's really about supply and demand. And supply is being eaten up more and more so by the whales, by the institutions through these ETFs, and retail too. Retail just got a little scared, but retail will come back. All great things. And if you look at in cumulative, everything that we have, okay, all the ETFs from all the countries, and yes, we have them in Canada as well, and a few others in Europe, and all the US ones, right? Grayscale is the only one that's still selling, okay? But if you look at everything in total, we're talking about over $100 billion of Bitcoin in the ETFs. That's it, okay? $100 billion. But that's a lot. That's like 10% of the entire supply, okay? And that happened in a very, very, very short amount of time. Now imagine the market keep going up and Bitcoin continues to rise and we go over 100,000. Think about how much FOMO there will be from the companies and the fund companies and private companies and public companies and financial institutions how much FOMO there will be among them when Bitcoin starts rising up above $100,000. These AUM numbers will explode from 100 billion to 200 to 500 and maybe by the end of the year, 1 trillion. Imagine 1 trillion of AUM under the ETFs. How high Bitcoin would be then, right? Maybe at 125, 130,000, 150,000. It could be right around the corner. This is why you don't ever want to give up. Okay, this is the best asset we have. 4,000 Bitcoins accumulated by one person, Mr. 100. He's no longer called Mr. 100. He should be called Mr. 4,000 because he purchased 4,000 Bitcoins in a single day. In a single day. Do you know how much that is? This has to be a billionaire, right? It has to be someone that we know, some rich billionaire that decided, I don't have enough Bitcoin. I need to put more into my balance sheet. And I mean, added 4,000. How much is it going to add today? Right? Maybe another 4,000. I mean, that's insane. 4,000 Bitcoin in a single day. Here's another example of Bitcoin and why it's so early. If you look at adoption S-curve versus internet adoption and where Bitcoin is right now, you could see how, yeah, Bitcoin adoption from a world perspective is still nothing. Absolutely nothing, okay? By the time it's not nothing, by the time it's adopted as much as internet itself, we're talking about Bitcoin being at like $5 million, $10 million, something like that, okay? So it's still very, very early. Accumulate those sats as much as you can. Arthur Hayes also thinks that we're going to go for a slow grind up. I think we'll get back to that again, back to that 63.7 mark, this red mark. And then we may trend here for a little bit for a few months until Bitcoin starts skyrocketing up to 80, up to $100,000. I think that's right around the corner. But we may hover here for a little bit. But who knows? Maybe we don't. Maybe we just start skyrocketing now and we never stop until the end of the cycle. Who knows? Right? We're after the halving event, but traditionally speaking, it takes a few months before we start moving. But you know what? All the charts, the on-chain metrics, the fundamentals all point higher.